So John, here on the new set on the Harry Potter studio tour, can you tell us a bit about this particular one that we're on now?
Well, this one is obviously the King's Cross station. It represents everything that we filmed in the films, platform 9 3/4. We've got the real train here, all 75 tons of engine, and the carriages, and we've made it look as though it's hot and steaming and ready to leave the station.
You worked on the special effects on the film, of course.
I did special effects on all 8 movies, yes.
And what was the combination of real on-screen effects and computer effects afterwards?
It changed a little bit over the period of the movies because at the start of the films the CGI world was still growing and finding its way a little bit. So there was a tendency on the first films to try and do as much as we could physically, which was great for me because it's the way I prefer to do things anyway. As the movies went on, the stories got a little bit more involved, the magic got a little bit more involved, and the CGI work got a lot better. So the changeover point changed as we moved forward, but we always managed to maintain, I think, throughout the Potter films a very good balance of real life and CGI, because if you can get as much reality into the CGI as possible, it makes the CGI look better, and it makes the whole movie look better, it makes it look more believable. So I think that's probably one of the things I'm most proud of from all the Potter movies, is the fact that what we did blended so well together and ultimately looked very good. And I think there were a lot of instances where people didn't really realise they were looking at a CGI, and a lot of instances where they didn't realise they were looking at a special effect. So I don't think we could have done better than that.
How do you feel about this kind of giving away some of the secrets, that you kind of know what is real and what isn't?
Well, you know, now the movies are over. It's great for everybody to be able to come and see the real sets, the real train, and see how we did it. I think now with the advent of CGI, so many of the effects that are created today, kids can make on their own computer now. So a lot of that magic isn't really a mystery anymore, which to me is very sad in a way, but you know, life moves on. But you know, this gives the public the opportunity, A, to live in the Harry Potter world and see the Harry Potter world, B, to see how the movies were made, in terms of the Harry Potter films, how the sets were built, how everything was put together. And also, if you're a film buff, it gives you an insight into movie making. So, you know, it works on 3 different levels.
You've worked on a number of great films in the past. Are there any of those that you think would benefit with this sort of experience?
I think probably the closest to it are the James Bond films. I did nine Bond movies, and that was always a, you know, a sort of combination of real life effects and model work, and it wasn't until the latter, probably the last 5 or 6 of the Bond films, that they've got a little bit more into the CGI world, but they've learned over the years to again do as much for real as they can, and it gives the film a reality, a bite to it that I think a lot of other films these days tend to lack.
How did you find the process of adapting to the advancement of CGI on your work?
I struggle with it a little bit because I say I'm a great believer in doing as much for real as you can, and sometimes there's been a tendency with some directors who fall into the CGI world a little too easily for my money, and so, you know, from that point of view, I've struggled a little bit to try and convince people, look, you know, let's look at what we can do for real, and then enhance it. And if we can't do it for real, then go into the CGI world. And if you do that, you'll get the best out of it. So it's been a balance, and it's been a learning curve for all of us, I think.
Are you still impressed by the effects when you look back at the earlier films as well, compared to the newer ones? Does it still take your breath away?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think all of the Potter films, the effects still hold up pretty well today. And you know, I occasionally turn the television on, and there's the Philosopher's Stone or Chamber of Secrets, and you know, they still look pretty good, I think.
Excellent. And finally, where do you think technology can take the effects? Where do you think it can go from here?
I'd like to see it go backwards slightly, because I think a lot of the movies today have gone more into an animated movie than a real film, and by doing that, they've lost a lot of the intensity and the bite and the reality that films of 10, 15 years ago had, and they're only going to get that back, I think, if people start to move backwards a little bit and try and segue both genres into one, which is it's still possible, but it needs to be done quickly. Otherwise, it's a dying art. The sort of stuff that I've been doing.
Do you think there are some directors that are open to that, and are there some that are more resistant to that?
There are certainly some that are open to it. Director who did Interstellar.
Chris Nolan.
Chris Nolan is very much a director who wants to do as much in camera as he can, and I think that shows in his movies. It also shows in the fact that his movies have recently won Academy Awards. So from that aspect, I think it speaks for itself. And there are other Chris Nolans out there who want to do it that way. And there are other directors who I think have taken the easier route sometimes and don't do it. But we'll see where the future goes, I think.
Excellent. Well, I think it was the perfect combination of Harry Potter of real and special effects. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey